Game is the Game, episode 4. We're going to call this one TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. So, most people, even the people I'm working with actually, when it comes to the weekend, they're gassed. But I think they're gassed for the wrong reasons. They're gassed because they can take their foot off the gas and start to chill, relax, do what they want to do, maybe go shopping. But the weekend, that's the time for you to get ahead. See, you got a 9 to 5. Well, most people got a 9 to 5 or something along those lines. And then they come home in the evening and then it's, Netflix or social media or whatever. And then they're back to the job the next day. The overall, they'll be complaining that their life isn't going anywhere. But then week after week, month after month, they're doing the same thing. They're stuck in the cycle. But they don't realize that you have these small windows. So once you finish work, which I'm assuming most people finish work right now, then you have, before you go to bed, you got, well, depending on your circumstance, you could have anywhere from an hour to maybe 5 to get something done. So it's like, you got a 9 to 5, and then you can chill for a little bit, and then you get straight to your 7 to 11 or 6 to 10 or whatever you can do. But then the weekend, now that's the key part. That's the part where you got 48 hours to grind, 48 hours to hustle, even just 48 hours to learn something new and just take action. So that's what this episode is about today. Taking action on the weekends, because weekends are for getting rich. Word to GP. So this podcast, I'm going to release it every Friday about 8 o'clock UK time, just so you can have something on your mind, fresh, ready to go into the weekend strong. We've been talking about mindset the last few podcasts, but today we're going to switch it to wealth building. So there's 2 topics I want to cover. One is actually not really wealth building, but it ties in somehow. The first one is debt. Because I think a lot of people are trying to run while they still got shackles attached to their feet. So you can't really run too fast. You can't really run too far when the debt is holding you back. So I tried this myself, and you try and invest your way out of debt. And maybe it can work, but more often than not, it's gonna go south because you're investing for the wrong reasons. You're investing from a weak foundation. So the game is get out of debt, and get out of debt as fast as you can, because the debt is holding you back. Debt is an anchor. There's a saying in the Bible. It says, the borrower is slave to the lender. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a slave, because the goal is freedom. And as long as you owe somebody money, you'll never be free. So the first one, get out of debt. But in order to get out of debt, you need to know how much you owe. This weekend, I would say, tally up every single person, organization, anything that you owe, from loans, credit cards, to your boy borrowed you a $5, whatever it is, tally them up. And once you got that total, you can move from a better position, because now you know exactly how much you owe. And without knowing that, you're kind of moving through the dark. So tally it up. Then you have to decide how you're going to tackle it. There's a few different ways. So there's one way called the Snowball Effect, which is basically you put all the debt in order from smallest to largest, and then you want to tackle the smallest one first. So let's just say you had 3 different debts of £5, £100, and £1,000. So you would say, okay, let's get rid of this £5. Boom, you'd pay off that £5 straight away. Automatically, now you're down to 2. So that small win there, it's going to give you the momentum to move into the next one. So then you'll start tackling the £100, and then maybe it'll take you couple of weeks, and then you tackle that one, you get that out of the way, and then you'll move on to the £1,000, and you'll keep pushing until you get that out of the way. The second one you can do is go with the highest interest first. So if you got a few different debts, and let's say one is interest free, one is 10%, and then one's 20%, no matter the amount of the actual debt, you'll tackle the one with the highest interest first, because it's interest that's the real killer, because you're paying a premium to borrow money. And debt is like it's like borrowing from your future self, because you're spending money that you haven't actually earned yet. So you need to get out of that habit. The only exception to that would be if you're using debt to buy assets, but most people are using it to buy maybe even just shopping, general consumer spending, holidays, cars, stuff like that. But I think the only long-term debt you should be left with, if any, is a mortgage. So as long as if you can get it down to that, where you're debt free, only have a mortgage, and then you can finally get rid of the mortgage, then you're really talking. So the second thing I want to talk about is cleaning your room, because I think that when you have a clean space, it's like reflected of your mind. So if there's clutter all around you, from let's say in your bedroom, you've got drawers full of paperwork, you've got clothes on the floor, folders here and there, and things out of their cases and stuff like that. It, even if you don't think it does, it has an effect on how you move. And you want to move from a clear a space as possible, because the road is not going to be easy. So you need to make it smooth. You need to have clean, clear surroundings, so your thoughts can be aligned with that. Another thing, oh yeah, I would say I forgot about the debt. Another thing I would say to do is to consolidate it. If you can group your debt together somehow, like merging the credit cards, the balance, so you're paying one instead of two, three, four. Personally, I find it easier to do that, because if you're paying four different credit cards and the minimum on each one, and let's say I don't know, let's just say you're paying £10, £10, £10, £10. Like, it's much easier just to pay 40 here one time, and then just you'll see it going down. Even though it's a large amount, you're paying off a larger amount. I think it's just a psychological way of doing it. It helps. So yeah, know how much debt you got. List it out. Decide how you're gonna tackle it. Are you gonna tackle it from smallest to largest? Are you gonna tackle it from highest interest to the lowest interest? Whichever one you choose, that's up to you. But make sure you get rid of it, because you can't prosper. It feels like a weight off your shoulders when you're debt free, and then you can think about your next moves. And you can't really think of too tough about next moves when your mind is worrying about bills, and I owe this person, I owe that person. So before you invest, before you even start saving, I would say tackle the debt. I think as long as you have a small amount of savings that can save you should anything arise, the only thing you want to do is tackle the debt. Nothing else. Once the debt's done, then you build your savings again to. I think the pandemic showed that. See, before people used to say, oh, you need 3 to 6 months. But I'm not even sure if that's enough or not, because I remember during the pandemic, I was out of work for a minute, and it was more than 6 months. So if I never had the savings that I had, I would have been screwed. But I was also doing a bit on the side, but still, I would say you need a minimum 6 months right now. But you can build that over time. It doesn't have to be in one go. But the goal should be probably to have even up to a year's worth of expenses just sitting on the side. Some people might say, "Oh, that's a waste of bread, because it's not actually making money for you, and it's losing actually because of the inflation." But for me, sometimes not every penny needs to be working. It can be working for you in more of a mental way, like you've got that security there. Just something to think about. Oh yeah. While I was thinking, jumping from one thing to the other, but I'm going back to cleaning your room, right? When you clean your room or your house, you're gonna come across things that you don't need, or maybe even things that you use, but you don't really need them that much. So I would say when you're cleaning, put all the things that have some resale value to the side, and then get rid of them. So let's just say you got a old games console that you don't use, or even a TV, or some clothes that you can sell, some designer clothes, or I don't know, it could be anything that has value. You can either take it to one of those high street shops, list it on eBay, anywhere, and then the proceeds from that money, from those sales, use it to pay off the debt. Might not pay off all of it, but when you see you're moving, making moves and paying it down even just a little bit at a time, because that's all it takes. You just keep at it. And then if you set yourself a target, I don't know how everyone has a different amount of debt, but let's just say by the end of the year you wanted to eliminate your debt entirely, or eliminate 50% or 20% or however much it is. Just keep grinding and working towards that end of year goal, and then hopefully, if not this year, then next year you can be debt free, and then make your moves from there. So yeah, this weekend, this episode, take it in. It's all about using your time wisely, using the weekend to grow your wealth. But wealth building, that it has to start from the small steps, the things that you can do today. You don't even need to worry about investing and all of that. You need to handle what you can handle right now. So what you do have is, if you do have debt, focus on getting rid of that. Focus on cleaning your room. Focus on selling anything that you don't need. Use that money to clear down the debt. Then take your weekly wages or your salary, monthly salary. Take a proportion of that and keep paying down the debt every week, every month, every day, whatever it is, however you get paid. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the goal. Follow that, and then only then, once you see that, because at the moment, if you've got debt, you have to see it as you're below zero. So if you're below zero, the aim is now to get back to zero. That's the foundation. That's the floor. So you have to see it like you're in the basement right now. So the goal is to get out of the basement, get to the ground floor, build a solid foundation on the ground floor to make sure that you never go back to the basement. And then from there, keep leveling up. Go to level 1, level 2, level 3. And then each time you start investing a bit more, start investing in different asset classes, you just keep building up the wealth ladder. So yeah, man. Thanks for listening. Also, I guess I'm supposed to say like, subscribe, and all of that stuff. But yeah, only like it if you liked it, if you gained something from it. Subscribe if you're unfoldable. And I'll catch you again next week. And just remember, the game is the game.